This is KVUE News Daybreak.
Good Friday morning to you, and thank you for watching KVUE News Daybreak at 4:30. I'm Yvonne Nava. Let's get a look at what we're tracking with Storm Team Meteorologist Erica Lopez. Good morning.
Good morning, Yvonne. A sticky start to our morning this Friday, and things are going to be a little bit wet as we take a sneak peek into the weekend. Here's a look at what you're waking up to this morning, though. Temperatures on the warm side, 76 for ABIA, Camp Mabry at 75 degrees, and dew points in the lower 70s. So a couple degrees less in terms of moisture content compared to yesterday morning, but still very muggy out there. Highs will be in the lower 90s this afternoon. We're calling it a 30% chance of showers, mainly for the hill country. Very isolated, not a widespread rain shower chance. And then this afternoon, or excuse me, this evening will be kind of the same thing. Here's a look at what we're tracking for your weekend forecast. Saturday night, a cold front is pushing through. That's going to give us some heavy rain at times for Saturday. Kind of a gloomy weekend we have in store for Saturday. Then rain chances will continue into Sunday. We're calling it scattered showers. Temperatures will be a little bit cooler, at least in the 80s. But Yvonne, a lot of those outdoor plans should probably stay indoors this weekend. So we'll continue to keep you guys updated on the rain chances this weekend.
Okay, save yourself the heartache and just put those plans or move those plans indoors. Thank you. 4:31 is your time. New overnight, we now know the identity of the San Antonio firefighter killed in a massive mall fire last night. Officials say Scott Deem was a 6-year veteran of the department. The fire broke out at the Ingram Park Shopping Center around 9 o'clock last night. Officials say firefighters entered the building to look for people who may have been inside. But once they were under the roof, well, the flames spread and the firefighters couldn't escape. 2 other firefighters were also injured in the fire. They are expected to survive. No word yet on what sparked the blaze. The San Antonio Fire Department will hold a news conference this morning with more information. And also this morning, we're getting our first look at the man who plowed his car into a crowd at New York's Times Square. Officers say the driver, 26-year-old Richard Rojas, took a wrong turn and jumped a curb, crashing into the crowds. Officials say it was not an act of terrorism. He injured 22 people and killed an 18-year-old who was visiting New York from Michigan. The young man's friends say that she was on vacation with her family.
Well, I told her to have fun and to take lots of pictures, and she said, I will, I love you, and she was just selfless. She always wanted to make other people happy, and that's all she ever cared about.
So again, the woman who died was on vacation there as a tourist. Oh my goodness, this video. The other people injured in that crash are expected to be okay. Officials say the driver tried to take off after the final crash, but as you can see, pedestrians tackled him before he could get away. Police say the Navy veteran tested positive for PCP and that he, quote, felt like the world was ending right before the crash happened. He's charged with 1 count of murder, 20 counts of attempted murder, and 5 counts of aggravated vehicular homicide. Well, today, President Donald Trump will travel to the Middle East to meet with European allies on the fight against terrorism. But that's not the only issue he's battling. ABC's Janae Norman explains how our nation's leader is reacting to an investigation on his possible ties to Russia as he prepares for his first official foreign trip in office.
The president is sticking to his guns, insisting the FBI's investigation is nothing more than a witch hunt, even as members of his own party aren't sticking with him.
The entire thing has been a witch hunt, and there is no collusion between certainly myself and my campaign.
I think this is a serious investigation.
He's entitled to his opinion. I would suggest to the president that one has been appointed. Honor that decision, cooperate where it's appropriate.
Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, the man who appointed the special counsel to take over the investigation, was on Capitol Hill briefing all 100 senators on his decision.
To make certain the American people felt that this was going to be handled fairly and justly.
Meanwhile, on the other end of Pennsylvania Avenue, the president was asked during a news conference whether he tried to get former FBI Director James Comey to shut down his investigation into fired National Security Advisor Michael Flynn.
Did you at any time urge former FBI Director James Comey in any way, shape, or form to close or to back down the investigation into Michael Flynn? And also, as you look back...
No. Next question.
The answer, setting up a showdown with Comey, who reportedly took detailed notes of his conversation with the president before sealing his fate with this testimony Trump vented about.
It makes me mildly nauseous to think that we might have had some impact on the election.
That was a poor performance. I believe that's why the Deputy Attorney General went out and wrote his very, very strong letter.
The president has admitted he was already planning to fire Comey regardless of Rosenstein's recommendation. And as Comey is invited to testify before Congress next week, this controversy is likely to follow the president on his first trip abroad. Janae Norman, ABC News, Washington.
And today we could find out who will replace James Comey as the new FBI director. Last night, President Trump said he's close to naming who will take the position. He says former Democratic Senator Joe Lieberman of Connecticut is his top choice. Lieberman served in the U.S. Senate for 24 years, and he was also former Vice President Al Gore's running mate in the 2000 election. Happening today at the state capitol, the House of Representatives will take a final vote on a bill that aims to revamp the troubled foster care system in Texas. Senate Bill 11 transfers foster care management from the state to community-based organizations. Those organizations will handle child protective services cases and place children in homes. It also breaks the state into smaller regions, so recruitment of families isn't just done in Austin, but also on another level.
Well, I think the status quo has been, let's put more money in and that'll fix it. Let's put more money in and that'll fix it. And really, we have done that, really for the last decade, really even beyond. We've doubled the amount of money put in CPS with about a 20% increase in kids in 12 years. Okay, but the results haven't been a lot better. And so it's not just money.
Well, if the House passes the bill today, it will go back to the original author to review amendments that were added. Well, the man accused of killing a University of Texas student and injuring 3 others earlier this month will go through another mental evaluation to determine if he's fit to stand trial for murder. Kendricks White was already examined by a doctor hired by his defense team. That test showed that White is fit to stand trial. However, yesterday a judge ruled that he needs a second exam from a different doctor not hired by White's lawyers. Kendricks is set to appear in court on Monday for a previous DUI charge. Millions of Americans hoping to begin cleaning up after days of nasty weather. Well, they may have to wait. The latest radar shows more stormy weather moving through the heartland, an area that's already been hit hard with heavy rain, hail, and as many as 20 tornadoes. ABC's Candace Gibson has the latest.
Storm, probably 20 miles wide.
This morning, conditions across the southern plains just right for forming tornadoes. Already at least 2 twisters touching down in Oklahoma and 1 in northwest Texas.
Here we go. Here comes the circulation.
These storm chasers on the hunt, pelted by hail. The Oklahoma City area expecting more severe weather today. Public schools there let out early yesterday as the storm danger grew. There have been more than 3 dozen reported tornadoes since Tuesday. The most powerful hit Wichita and carved a 27-mile path. This week's tornadoes are blamed for at least 3 deaths in Oklahoma, Wisconsin, and Iowa. Candace Gibson, ABC News, New York.
Pretty intense storms we've seen and still some active conditions overnight tonight. We're monitoring in even parts of north and central Texas, still some pretty active storms. And then now pushing through Kansas and Oklahoma, the bulk of that storm is now making its way into Missouri and parts of the upper Midwest. So they definitely deserve a break, but there's still a few watches out there in terms of severe thunderstorms that we're monitoring. And also, of course, you can't rule out some rotation. Here's a look at the tornado reports we've seen in the last 24 hours, mainly across Kansas and Oklahoma, but factor in all of the storm reports we've seen. That includes large hail, damaging winds, flash flooding concerns, numerous, not only for northern Texas, but Oklahoma. Kansas was the busiest. And again, we'll see those reports come into play for parts of Missouri later this morning. Here's your severe weather outlook for this Friday. Yet again, Austin, we're lucky. We remain south of this system, an enhanced risk for northern Texas, just outside of Dallas. What we do have are just a marginal threat across the hill country and a slight risk for Mason counties and parts of Llano counties in terms of severe storms that could be possible this afternoon. Very low chance, a 30% chance, so it's even lower than yesterday that some of these storms could even make its way into our viewing area. But just a heads up, an isolated cell or 2 is possible this afternoon. I don't think it's likely, but if it is, it'll mainly stay across the hill country. I have your weekend forecast. I'm chatting a good rain chance, especially for the Austin Metro this weekend. I'll talk about it in the the full forecasts. Yvonne, back to you.
All right, thanks so much. 4:40 is your time, and we've been following this story for a few days now. And now the woman who is being sued because she was texting during a date is coming forward. Here's KVUE's Brandon Jones with her side of the story.
The past 24 hours has been life-changing for 35-year-old Crystal Cruz.
I've cried, I've laughed, I've been mad.
Cruz is being sued for $17.31. Why? Well, this man, 37-year-old Brandon Vesmar, says she ruined their date and his movie-going experience.
This is insane. I just couldn't even believe it.
Vesmar spoke to us Tuesday, and now Cruz wants to share her side of the story. She says he exaggerated about how much she was texting during the movie. Cruz says she only sent 3 text messages to her friend and tried to be discreet by holding her phone close to her. That's when she says things escalated and Vesmar asked her to stop.
I leaned back over to him and I said, well, I'm just going to go.
But things didn't stop there. Cruz says Vesmar went to great lengths to find her on social media.
He messaged everyone on my Facebook with the last name of Cruz. He messaged them to look for me.
Then a lawsuit was filed.
Let me move on with my life. I'll do whatever it takes.
And Cruz did just that.
I will love to give you your $17.31.
The two met for the first time since the date Thursday on national television. Vesmar has agreed to drop the lawsuit, and Cruz, well, she says she learned to be more careful dating.
That was Brandon Jones reporting. Well, still ahead, most of you may have noticed that those pesky mosquitoes are back, and Zika is popping up across the state. What state leaders are doing to prevent a potential outbreak. Plus, drugs being passed out at school, and we're not just talking about high school or even middle schoolers. How a 5-year-old Texas girl convinced her classmates to take prescription drugs.